Diehards.
You mean Kaz didn't make it?
He's flying. Extra day in Seattle.
Just really disappointed in Kaz. Really disappointed. I expect it from others, but not him. No, I'm just kidding, Kaz. I'm kidding, man. So Jeff Smith and Eccles will be out. Everyone else is, we feel good about.
How good is it getting Joyner back?
It's good. He again, just he's an explosive player back there. He's hair trigger in the sense that, and he's 99% right when he does trigger. So when that ball snap, post snap, he's as good as anybody.
We, for good reason, have focused on the corners, and how they played. But how have Joyner and Whitehead worked together in that secondary this year?
For sure. We put a lot of stress on our safeties and linebackers in the scheme, and two basically new faces because LaMarcus did miss all of last year, and we asked them to do a lot, and I feel like they've done a really good job, and they've gotten better as the year's gone on. We rely on them a lot for communication, something that I feel like they've gotten better at, and there's a lot of things that we ask them to do, and I feel like they've gotten better every week.
Robert, 2 points with your run game. Do you expect to have Streveler up as a practice squad elevation?
We'll see. He's another one where, with roster limitations and a lot of guys coming back from injury, we're not quite sure yet.
And do you expect Zonovan to be your lead back again, or is there anything you could do? We know it's an all-11 run game thing. You're not going to really change out your offensive line. Is there anything you could do at running back to maybe jumpstart it or stick with Zonovan?
No, well, we're back by committee. We've got the backs, and the three that are active, they'll usually kind of roll. So it's Zonovan's going to get his op, so will Michael, so possibly James, and then so will Ty Johnson. So we'll that's always going to be the feel as the game is going.
With the trip to Seattle, did you guys do anything to tweak the schedule or the sleep? Did you?
Everything's normal. We're just leaving the day, as opposed to a normal Saturday trip. We're going to get out there a day early and just kind of acclimate.
Do you want to know? I mean, it's probably unavoidable to find out. But do you want to know the results of Patriots Dolphins before you take the field? Will you be scoreboard watching?
Not scoreboard. I'm sure human nature. We're going to glance at it, but again, unless we take care of ours, it doesn't matter. And like I've said all week, the playoffs. It's not about the playoffs. It's about getting up off the mat. Had a rough December. Luckily, we get a new month. The game is happening in January, so it's take a deep breath, get off the mat, and get ready to fight.
Do you get the sense that your group understands kind of the importance of what this Sunday could mean for the organization?
Young group. I joked in training camp, baby jets and all that stuff, and I feel like we've grown a lot. I think our veterans recognize it because there's guys like C.J. Mosley who's been in the league a while, and he hasn't had as many playoff appearances as you would think. And, it's not easy to get to the play. It is hard to win football games in this league. And you just got to cherish every moment. And when you get these opportunities, you want to seize it. But the magnitude of it all, I don't know. That's probably more of a question for them. But at the same time, you don't want to make it bigger than anything else because, again, you got to stay in the moment and just do your best.
Along those same lines, when you came in, when some of the players have come in, you guys have talked about changing the culture within the organization and the perception of the franchise. Do you get the sense that that's changing internally and externally?
I do. I think there's a lot of confidence in the locker room. I think from just a building standpoint, I can't speak for what it's been, but I do feel like it's, there's a lot of transparency in the building, a lot of people speaking the same language, and a lot of really good communication happening. And, I think, we've made really, really nice strides this year. We'd love to finish it. So obviously we got to take care of this one, but feel like we're definitely going in the right direction.
When you guys walked off the field last Thursday night, it seemed pretty dire as far as the playoff chances and then everything that happened over the weekend. Does that kind of just speak to how kind of crazy the league has been this season?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's hard. It's hard to win in this league. That's why you got two division winners who may end up with a losing record. You got possibly. You've got teams just hovering around 500, battling for that 7th spot in both conferences. It is hard. There's a lot of parity in this league, and with the salary cap and the shared revenue and all that, everyone's got an equal swing of the bat, and it doesn't matter whether you're a small market or a big market. there's tremendous opportunity to be had in terms of creating a winner year in and year out, and I think that's why the NFL is the greatest sport in the world, greatest sport at least in this country, because every year is just a wild card, roll the dice, see what happens, and because you look at teams like Denver, who have lost a bunch of one-score games, versus a team like Minnesota, who's won a bunch of one-score games. And it's always, and for us, we had a really cool first half of winning one-score games, and the second half we'd just been that short, and I think that's why the agony and the joy of this league week to week is felt, because every single game is like, God, it's so close. But the league is crazy.
How much of that has to do with the run game? Like, the run game was really good in the first half of the season, and hasn't been as much, even with worse. You were a running team at one point in the season.
No, you're right. There's a lot of things. We got to get the ball on defense. We've got to find a way to get leads early, so teams have to force the issue against our defense, so we can be a little bit more opportunistic. There's a whole bunch of things. Being able to run the ball and kill clock and possess it and move the chains, but it's not just the run game, although that is a big part of it, especially December football. It's just our team ball hasn't been clicking to the level it needs to click for us to win those one-score games.
Robert, one thing we meant to ask you earlier in the week is about Miles Austin and his suspension, and if you have any statement, and who's handling the wide receivers now?
Mac Brown is handling the receivers. I'm not going to get in the detail of all the things. I know Miles is a non-malicious person, and so there's a lot of things I'd like to say, but he's got to go through his due diligence and have faith in the people making the decisions, that once they hear him out, they'll do the right thing.
Does he have to stay away from the team during the appeal process?
Yeah, he's been away from the team.
Take a couple more.
You guys announced this morning that Quinnen was voted your team MVP.
Yeah.
I don't know what there's left to say about how good Quinnen is, but could you talk about that? And what's the process for that? Does each guy get a ballot or whatever in the locker room, or is it like a raise your hands thing?
No, there's a ballot. No. Quinnen back there looking, make sure.
Who voted for me?
No. There's a ballot. I think it was as close to unanimous as it can get, but Quinnen, he also won the Good Guy Award in terms of just his presence in the building and how good of a human being he is. And when you have guys like that, you're happy for him because of all the success he's having. But he's a dominant force on the inside. When he's playing at his best, he makes it easy for everybody to do their jobs. And but not just that. I never like to compare, but his impact in the building is very similar to a guy like DeForest Buckner, who's just the ultimate team guy, team first, uplifts his teammates, has a great relationship with all his teammates, and very coachable, and so he's deserving of everything he's gotten this year.
What did you know about Quinnen when you took the job, and what have you learned about him since?
Well, I've talked about it, and it was good. We ended up taking Bosa over Quinnen when we were in San Francisco, so there was a lot of studying that went into Quinnen in the event that Bosa would have went first. But Quinnen, there was a lot of lobbying for Quinnen in the building, and deserved. He's a dominant human being on the inside, which he's showing. We knew his character. We felt like he was young and he was going to have to grow into it, which he has. And we feel even now that the sky's still the limit for him. But everything that we studied and felt is everything that's kind of come to fruition over the 2 years that I've been here.
Among those other awards, I think the Selfless Warrior Award that went to Dwayne.
Yeah.
That's a new one. I think. How did that come about?
As a staff and an organization, really as an organization, I think sometimes the guys who sacrifice so much are kind of hidden. They don't get celebrated enough. We have all these awards and they're awesome, and it just talking to PR and all of them, just to recognize the guy that just goes above and beyond to sacrifice not only for himself and his family, but for his team and his teammates. And Dwayne Brown ended up, it's voted on by the coaches, and Dwayne Brown just exemplifies everything with what he's done. I'm not going to get into the details of what he sacrificed and how he's been doing it, but it is very rare for someone like Dwayne Brown to go through a season like he has, and to sacrifice what he's had when he hasn't had to sacrifice anything. He's just there's a reason why he's had so many years in the league. There's a reason why he's got many more years left in the league, and there's a reason why he's been a Pro Bowler for so long, and he's made so much money. He's amazing.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
I vote for team MVP.